Hello everyone, and welcome to Life Transformation UK, where you can find the most effective and honest content on how to transform your life through self-improvement today. Now, going back to well before I started this channel, going back maybe 5 or 6 years, I struggled a lot with low self-esteem and a sense of low self-worth. And when I initially started my self-improvement journey, that was one of the main things I wanted to work on to improve in myself, because I figured that if I could feel better about myself, then maybe I would be able to help other people feel better about themselves too. And so I spent several years learning how to rebuild myself from the ground up to where I am today, where I am a lot more confident, not just within myself, but in trying new things and in helping others as well. So today I want to share with you a few of the ways that I have learned and that I used to overcome my low self-esteem when I was at absolute zero. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you is not a quick fix. A lot of content like this tends to focus on the quick fixes, but for me, I feel that it's important to let you know up front that if this is something that you really want to work on, it might not be a 7-day or a 30-day or even a 90-day transformation. It takes time and it takes consistent work, and sometimes you will need help to do that. So one of the things that I did when I was working on my low self-esteem was that I went out and I actually hired a therapist to work with me on that and a few other issues that I was going through at the time. Now, I highly recommend speaking with a therapist or a counsellor or somebody in that kind of field of helping therapy if you are struggling with low self-esteem, with anxiety, with depression, or anything like that. It is worth it to get that help, because you're investing in yourself and you're investing in your future. There's no sense in continuing to read more and more books and watch more videos and read more articles when you can spend some time and find a decent therapist that is within your budget who can really help you. Now, I found going to my therapist on a weekly basis really instrumental in getting myself out of the place of low self-esteem and moving myself into a place of confidence, because I was able to have conversations with her that I would not be able to have with myself or with my friends. She provided a completely objective sounding board to a lot of my ideas, and was also able to call me out on a lot of ideas that were either just outright wrong or that were limiting me in some way. So I worked with a personal therapist for well over a year. I think it was about 1.5 years during my 3rd and 4th years at university, and that is one of the things that I attribute towards me becoming the person that I am today. So it's well worth it to go and get yourself some kind of professional help in the field of psychology, because it will get you to kickstart your growth and give you somebody who can actually assist you in becoming all that you can be. Now, finding a good therapist can be difficult, because sometimes you will get people who are in it for the money, and you'll get people who may not necessarily have your best interests at heart. Rather, they are more interested in influencing you than in learning how it is to best help you or to teach you to help you. Now, I really lucked out with finding my first therapist, because she was extremely understanding of where it was that I was coming from. She didn't force her own ideas kind of down my throat, as a lot of people in the self-improvement and self-help industry tend to do. And she was endlessly patient with everything that I brought to the table. She was always creative with the new things that we would work with every single week, and she never let me kind of rest on the successes of the previous week. She always wanted to build on it and build on it and build on it until the point where once I had actually left therapy, I would no longer need her again. That was her goal. And this is how you can identify who is a good therapist, because a good therapist does not want you to be there. A good therapist will want to teach you the skills so that you can, over time, learn how to implement your own coping strategies and ultimately become your own therapist. So it's definitely worth contacting a few therapists before it is you do go ahead and book your first session. A lot of the times they will do a free consultation over the telephone. You can communicate with them back and forth over email if you're more comfortable with that, but I would highly recommend hiring a personal therapist so that you can begin the work of transforming your life from the inside out. Now, the next thing, which was so instrumental in me overcoming my issues with low self-esteem, was establishing a positive support network with my friends and my family. Now, my family has been a constant source of support and motivation for me ever since it was that I revealed to them what my issues were with mental health at the time. And once I had come clean with them with that, and once I started to talk about it more with my friends as well, I was able to establish an amazing network of people around me that I could rely on for support and accountability when I needed it. Now, it is important to have a support network around you, but more important than that is to not take advantage of that network or take them for granted. You don't want to be too needy with them, because if you expect your support network to solve your problems for you, then you're not really doing the work and you're not really taking responsibility, and you won't be moving yourself out of that place of low self-esteem. Instead, you'll be basing your self-esteem on whether or not your friends and family can help you at the time. And sometimes it will be the case where your support network will not be there to help you, and you'll have to take this on your own. But if you are putting in the work, and if you have that support network around you as often as you can do, then when it comes to times when you don't have them, you will be in the place to address whatever it is that is coming up, because of the work you've put in the past, and because you know that even though you don't necessarily have ready access to that support network right now, that they are there with you, and that even if it's a day, a week, a month, a year later, you can still talk to them and they can still make you feel loved and supported. And that can be an amazing way to push you from that place of low self-esteem and into a place of complete self-confidence. The final thing which really helped me to overcome my low self-esteem issues was setting an intention to find my personal worth. Now, each one of us has a sense of personal worth, and it is where our sense of self-esteem comes from. If we feel that we are bringing something valuable to the world, or that we could bring something valuable to the world, with our world being our immediate network of friends and family, our environment in which we live, and of course the wider world as well, in kind of ever-expanding circles, when we find our value and what we actually bring to everything, that is when we can start to really build up our self-esteem and our self-concept and our self-worth. So for me, part of finding what my self-worth was getting clear in my mind what it was that I wanted to do with my life. I'd been studying psychology, I'd been reading endless amounts of self-help books, and I knew what direction it was that I wanted to go through. and I knew what kind of value that I wanted to add to the world and what I wanted to bring, and I started to work towards giving that value every single day. And that's what I'm doing right here on this channel, is I am giving all that I know to my viewers, to anyone that might ever stumble across my videos at any time, and I am doing my absolute best to give the most honest and effective life transformation advice I can possibly give, because I know that it works, because it's worked on me and I've seen it work on others, and I want you to be able to have all the tools and techniques possible so that you can go out there and build the life that you want to live, so that you can give the highest amount of value possible to your world as well, and in so doing find your sense of self-confidence and be the best possible version of yourself. So to recap what I've gone over in this video today, the first thing that I did to really start to boost my self-esteem was find a personal therapist, dig deep into the issues that I had, and start to work through ways of learning how to cope with it, learning what the root causes were, so that if situations came up where I felt low self-esteem, I knew what to do to overcome that in that moment, or to bear with it so that I could get through it. And therapy was massively helpful in being able to show me how to do that. Now, as I said, it is very, very important to find the best therapist, somebody that will work best with you, and somebody that is interested in helping you to become the best possible version of yourselves, ultimately, without a therapist. The second thing was making sure that I established an amazing support network of friends and family. And again, this was hugely influential in my journey to completely transform my life. But you don't want to be too reliant on your support network. You want to be as independent as possible, but knowing that when you need to, you have that group of people that you can call on who will be there for you. And the final thing is setting an intention to find what your worth is in the world, finding out what your self-worth is, where you can bring value to the world, and making sure that you are giving that value as much as you possibly can, day in and day out, because that is where your self-confidence comes from. Your ability to know that you are worth more and that you are valuable in your world and the wider world as well. So if you have found this video useful, make sure to leave a like and a comment. Let me know what it is that you're going to be doing over the course of the next day, week or month to start to transform your life and build your self-esteem. If you're enjoying this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. I'm still posting daily content every day for 90 days until October 13th. So if you hit that subscribe button, you'll have more ready access to more life transforming content as well. But otherwise, I do hope you have enjoyed this video and that you have found it valuable in some way, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video very soon.